Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So sorry this is a little bit late. It's about 2-ish days. This is my working. Yeah, it's working, just heard that, sorry. Anyways, today I want to talk about the trailer, gameplay, whatever you call it. I'm calling it gameplay. I just want to talk about the gameplay because I wanted to do it for a couple days now. It's only been 2 days, almost 2 days, but I was really busy with just procrastinating and doing homework, and that's been annoying. I really hate procrastinating because it's so easy to procrastinate, especially in like these final days of like my project. Luckily I have till Sunday actually to finish my chemistry project, but I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm off subject, but anyways, we're gonna be talking about the gameplay for Last of Us Part 2 because they actually showed this new gameplay and I'm really excited. I saw it. You can watch my reaction in the card if you want to check it out. But yeah, it was definitely really awesome. I had Please ignore that. Okay, anyways, it was pretty awesome. I really had a good time watching it, and there was some new gameplay aspects as well in the gameplay. I don't know how to explain it, but there was just new stuff pretty much, and I want to talk about my thoughts and opinions, and there was some new cutscenes which I kind of want to talk about as well, but they're not going to be the main focus really, but they will be brought up, so I just want to let you guys know about that. But yeah, in case you don't know, this was the scene of basically The Last of Us Part 1, where this was basically the ending of where Joel rescues Ellie, and I thought it was a really cool scene. I thought it was really cool how he was like basically explaining the backstory. I'm assuming this is going to be the beginning of the game, sort of like a prologue, and then they're going to pretty much jump into Last of Us Part 2 with the flashback still going of like what's happening with Ellie as a teenager and them arriving to Jackson and their life pretty much changing. And I'm hoping that the whole situation near the end will get brought up. By the way, it seems with Joel talking about it, about how he didn't expect this to be happening, I think it'll definitely be brought up. But yeah, I thought it was really cool just to see them in like better graphics. It was a legitimate remake. It's a remake. It's not remastered. It's a remake. So I thought that was really cool that they did that. But yeah, something else I want to talk about was the environments looking very large. So as you can see, there's like a lot of details towards these environments, and it's really cool because they talked about how it's gonna be multiple seasons. I believe we're gonna start out with winter, from what I see. I think, I'm not sure what the plan is, but they talked about jungles, forests, and snowy mountains, so I thought that was really cool. And they mentioned that the open area of the game would be, it would in a way feel like it's open world, but really it isn't. It's a level, but you can like be able to explore that level, and I thought that was honestly really cool mention that they talked about. And of course we're still in Seattle, in case anyone's wondering. And something else I want to mention was that the weather looked extremely beautiful. Like the sunset, for example, that looked marvelous. That looked amazing. So yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about. Some new stuff they added was a rope mechanic. Copying Uncharted. I'm joking. Calm down. I know they're the same developers, but yeah. I thought it was really cool that they added some rope techniques where Ellie can throw the rope and be able to get to cross areas. I thought that was a really cool callback. I bet you Neil Druckmann was thinking about the Uncharted series and was just thinking about how cool it would be if Ellie were to do that. So I'm glad that they made Ellie and Joel like different characters. I'm glad Ellie is more like exploring, if that makes sense. Something else that they added, which is somewhat new, is horseback riding. In The Last of Us Part 1, we were able to horseback ride, but it wasn't really like actual horseback riding. We did use a horse. I'm not saying we didn't, but it was only for really one level, and it wasn't really that big of an area. It was literally a university. Like, who rides a horse to university? But yeah, anyways, what I want to talk about was that it's going to be an actual feature in the game, and it's really cool because it reminded me of Red Dead Redemption a little bit, just because of horses. Like, literally, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, Red Dead Redemption 2. But really, what's important is that Uncharted 4 kind of started this whole open world area. And I think one of Uncharted 4's main issues with the open world area, at least for me, I don't know if anyone has the issues, but let me know in the comments section down below if you did have any issues, was that it felt too big at times. Now, I know The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be larger, but I feel like The Last of Us Part 2 will be much better than Uncharted 4, just because Uncharted 4 is beautiful. I'm not denying that. It was amazing. I really liked seeing the environment. But I feel like with Last of Us 2, there'll be like more clickers in like these open world areas. At least I hope. And that there'll be more like enemies, and so we'll have to sneak by more. Especially since they mentioned some side quest stuff, which I don't know what that's up. What's that all about? But Yeah, I'm hoping that's an actual implementation of the game. Just have enemies in more open world areas. That way it could be more interesting than just exploring. That's what I really want. But yeah, the next thing I want to talk about was the flooded areas of the game. So basically, the areas that are basically flooded is the word. Something that I want to talk about this was that the fact that the flooded areas in The Last of Us Part 2, they're so flooded that Ellie actually has to use a boat, which is really cool. So part of the exploring will be exploring with a boat and on a horse. So I'm wondering how that's gonna work out. How will the horse follow us? Or are we gonna abandon the horse at a certain time period? Or are we gonna simply find another horse? I'm not sure what the plan is. So that's kind of like what I think at the moment about this whole exploring thing. It makes sense just because, what's the word? It would be very boring to have Ellie walk throughout the whole game. So I'm really glad that they're adding some creativity with like boats and horses. Something else I want to talk about was the two types of enemy, which is the WLF and the Scars. So the WLF are basically the guys who stole military weapons. So basically they're like, in a way, military troops in a way, I guess you could say. Even though they're not, they just stole the weapons. So they basically have guns, and they actually have dogs that can like sniff you and like kill you basically. So yeah, they're more intense. I think in a way they can shoot pretty much fast, and they are like talking, communicating, just keeping track radios, I would assume they have. Now the Scars are basically like this religious cult, I guess you could say. I don't know if it's religious, but it's a cult, I know for sure. And I believe that they scar themselves in the face, which is why they're called the Scars. And they basically have more quieter weapons, which is like maybe a bow and arrow. And so they said that they will be more stealthy. I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to prone or hide like Ellie is, because they mentioned that they hide in certain areas. So the way I see it is that the Scars are more hidden, while the WLF, they're not hidden exactly, but they are more intense because they have like bigger weapons, if that makes sense. While Ellie only has a pistol, I would assume, at the moment of the game, depending on what happens. Something cool I want to talk about is the WLF I mentioned earlier. The dogs can pick up your scent. That's a feature that they already mentioned, but it was cool to see them bring that up again. And they mentioned that they would follow your trail. Listen mode will reveal the trail, and prone is almost hidden when you're proning in the grass area when you're hiding from enemies, but it's not entirely hidden. So it's not really a good tactic to use, but if the enemy were far away, it would be somewhat of a good tactic, if that makes sense. I don't know if that made sense, but that made sense to me. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting for grounded mode playthrough. I would assume that they will have it at a second in part 2, I would assume. I just find it interesting just because in grounded, I know in Last of Us Part 1, you can use, you can't use your senses, by the way. You legitimately have to use your real life senses. So it's going to be really insane to see how this will play out. The dogs seem to just follow your scent, so it shouldn't be that bad with just them following where you're going. But it will be intense, and you can't pretty much stay in one area, so that's going to be cool. They also talk about the infected enemies, which was basically the runners, the clickers, the stalkers, and I believe the chandeliers are the new enemies that we haven't seen. The stalkers we've seen, I feel like, and the runners and clickers as well. But the chandeliers are basically these big guys that basically shoot out like acid gas, like really scary. Like this shit looks like terrifying. This looks like some paranormal crap, but yeah, that looks really creepy. The one thing that made me really excited was the forms of infected that was being teased at the end. I don't know if you know, but at the end of the audio, as you can hear,
but our most terrifying and lethal new forms of infected will have to wait until you play the game for yourselves.
They showed off some new infected, not showed off new infected. They showed up, actually, they did show up new infected, but obviously we couldn't see it. Now, I remember a friend told me this a while ago. This was a lot of years ago. They mentioned how that there was concept art of animals infected. I have to find it. I hope I can find it, but there was concept art of like infected that never basically happened in Last of Us Part 1. I wonder if they're gonna do that for Last of Us Part 2 of like huge ass animals. like maybe a tiger. I don't know, some crazy shit like that. That'd be really cool. But yeah, that's kind of like what I'm expecting at the moment. Who knows? I hope we don't get like weird vampire bats, because that would be a whole nother level. They mentioned that you can run away viable and that you can go through tight spaces, which is cool. And they mentioned that you can blend back into stealth mode. So you can basically, it's like a meter, I guess you could say. And like some games have it. I've noticed. I can't think of a game right now, but I know some games have it where when you're not hidden and you're running away from an enemy, and then you're back in stealth mode. I guess Outlast can count. Yeah, Outlast counts, except you can't really fight back in Outlast. But yeah, those were the cool things I wanted to mention about those gameplay. There's still some more stuff which I want to mention, which is about the combat. The combat, they made it really realistic. With the gameplay I've seen, you can basically dodge back because Ellie is apparently faster than Joel, and then you can throw items at enemies, and it's a dodge and counter attack basically, from what I mentioned. And it's really cool because you can it's really cool because you can grab basically the enemy's weapons and use it against them. But you really have to dodge and counter a couple times in order for that to work, from what I saw. So it's a hard strategy. But in the video, from what Neil said, I believe it was Neil, he mentioned that that the enemies have a certain pattern, and once you get the hang of that pattern, then you'll know what to do. So I'm not sure how different the enemies are going to be, considering that they mentioned in some other video that or dev diary, whatever you call it, that they're trying to make the humans realistic as possible. So I find it really cool that they're doing that. If the counts are not going to be exactly the same, but somewhat the same. Something else I found that was cool is that you can wound the enemies by the knee. I believe that was I don't think that was a feature in Last of Us Part 1. I feel like it was, but I don't think so. But you can grab them and use them as a shield, so I find that extremely cool. I can't wait for that. And then they mentioned allies. Allies can actually help you. We've had allies before in Part 1, but I don't know why, but I felt like they would not help at all in Part 2. I don't know why. That's just me being dumb. But Jesse or Dina can actually help you Dina and Jesse can actually help you in combat mode, as seen in the gameplay right here. So that's really nice, just because Ellie needs help pretty much. So why not have her friends help? So I find it really cool. I can't wait to play with Jesse, especially. That's the character I'm most excited for to play with us. But yeah, that's gonna be really awesome. But yeah, some other stuff they mentioned, which is pretty much new, not new, old, is that the humans versus infected, they can pretty much fight against each other. I've seen this happen with Last of Us Part 1, but it seems like in Part 2 they're making it more of an actual big deal now, because there was certain segments where there was not a lot of, at least in my knowledge, there was not a lot infected against humans in the same room area. There was in some instances, but I don't remember it happening that much, so I feel like it was a couple times of that happening. It might be the same with this, who knows, but since the game's going to be longer, I would assume we will have more than a couple more opportunities to do this. But yeah, you can like distract the infected by throwing objects, and that'll basically go against like the enemy's humans, the AWF or WLF and the Scars, or anyone else who knows. Something cool else, that was bad grammar, but you get my point. Something cool I want to talk about was the upgrade system. So as you can see, you can basically upgrade weapons. That's something that we've already done before, and one of the weapons is now a 6x scope for a sniper. I find that extremely cool. It really does explain how big these worlds are, or the levels are, considering you have to use a 6x sniper. I find that actually insane. So I found that to be pretty cool. They're experimenting some new crap in the game that we never got before. There'll also be weapons such as proximity mines, explosive arrows, and suppressors. I don't think we've ever. I know we had a suppressor, but I don't think we've ever had proximity mine. We might have actually. I might be thinking of something else, but definitely we never had an explosive arrow. So that's gonna be really interesting to see. But yeah, one thing I wanted to mention was that Ellie can swim. But yeah, that was basically, in a way, my whole breakdown. Sorry if I rambled on for too long. I was worried that I was just rambling on for too long, which I tried, but like it's hard to talk at times. But yeah, what is you guys' thoughts on this opinion of the gameplay? I really I knew the gameplay would be good. I didn't expect it to be this good. I don't know. I know that sounds mean. Like, for example, I didn't expect it to be a 6x scope. I did expect the WLF and the Scars. I didn't expect them to be, what's the word? I I did expect them to be like really challenging, different type of styles of enemies, if that makes sense. Infected, I didn't expect it to be extremely horrifying. I guess is the word. But yeah, I just I thought the Uncharted mechanic was really cool. I definitely didn't think that they would, have that implement, but I'm glad they're doing this stuff. But yeah, this really shows that this is like, in a way, an upgraded version of Last of Us 1. They really tried to improve some stuff more than the first game, so I'm really happy about that. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you guys did enjoy. Really would mean a lot. And yeah, there's some discussions I really want to talk about. Luckily, school ends next week on a Wednesday, so we should be good, hopefully. So I do want to bring out as much discussions before the game comes out. I think I might do some discussions after the game. Maybe I'll talk about like an opinion video, or review something. I don't know. I'm just not good at reviews, so I'm like worried that I'm gonna pretty much fuck it up. But yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys later for the next video. Goodbye.